Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today I'm going to be doing an Armored XZ Shark deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck just got an amazing new line of boss monsters out of Age of Overlord, the Armored XZ cards, which are such cool cards. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Buzzsaw Shark. Buzzsaw Shark is one of the best summons in the entire deck because it has the ability you can target a water monster you control, and then special summon from your deck and defense position one fish monster with the same level as that monster, but with a different name, which is a great ability because you can actually target Buzzsaw with its own effect to be able to special summon a level 4 fish monster from your deck, which is an amazing ability about this card. It also has the ability, if this card is used for an XZ summon of a water monster, it can be treated as a level 3, 4, or 5, helping you go in for a bunch of different XZ plays. We then play 2 copies of Lantern Shark. Lantern Shark is an amazing 2-of in the deck because if this card is normal or special summon, you can activate this effect to special summon a level 3, 4, 5 water monster from your hand in defense position, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect just to be able to get you 2 monsters on your side of the field. This card has the exact same effect as Buzzsaw Shark, that if you're going to use it as a material for an XZ summon of a water monster, it can be treated as level 3, 4, or 5, which is a great ability to help you go in for XZ plays. We then play 3 copies of Abyss Shark. Abyss Shark is one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck, because if this card is going to be used for an XZ summon of a number monster, it can be treated as a level 3, 4, or 5, which is a great effect to be able to use with this card. And if all monsters you control are water, then you can actually special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, you get to add a level 3, 4, 5 fish monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, which is a great ability. But for the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters except water, which is totally fine because that's pretty much all we're summoning anyways. We then play 2 copies of Crystal Shark. Crystal Shark is a great card to use with your copy of Abyss Shark because this card is an awesome extender that has the ability, if this card is going to be used for the XZ summon of a number monster, it can be treated as a level 3, 4, or 5, just like your copy of Abyss Shark, which is such a cool effect. And if this card's in your hand or grave, you can target a water monster on the field and then special summon back this card to your side of the field from your hand or grave, which is a great ability about this card just to get it on your side of the field, but it does half the attack of the target, which is not that big of a deal because you're just going to use it to make an XZ play anyways. We then play 2 copies of Dream Shark. Dream Shark is basically the cyber dragon of the deck, but this card is great because if you control no monsters or all monsters you control are water monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is a great effect just to instantly get this monster on the field so you can make some awesome XZ plays. We then play a single copy of Right Hand Shark. Right Hand Shark is really good in this deck as a 1-of, but you only need a single copy of this card because if this card is used as an XZ material, it has the ability that XZ monster gains the ability this card cannot be destroyed by battle, which is a great ability to be able to use with a bunch of cards in the deck, making this card a great card in the build. We then play 2 copies of XZ Remora. XZ Remora is really good in this deck as a 2-of because it has the ability you can special summon this card from your hand by detaching 2 materials from monsters that you control, which is really cool to be able to just detach 2 XZ materials from cards that you control, so you can just instantly get this card out on your side of the field. And it has the ability, when you do that ability, you can actually target 2 level 4 fish monsters in the graveyard and special summon those targets in face-up defense position, but their effects are negated, which is not that big of a deal because you're basically just getting 2 additional monsters on your side of the field, so you can go in for more XZ plays. This card is insane in the deck as a 2-of and helps out a lot in the deck because it combos extremely well with your copy of your XZ Armor Fortress. I absolutely love how well these 2 cards work together, and it's just absolutely crazy to be able to use this card with Fortress. We then play 2 copies of Silent Angler. Silent Angler is really good in the deck because you can special summon this card from your hand if you control a water monster, but this card is the last card you're going to be special summoning from your hand because it has the ability that if this card is special summoned from your hand, you cannot special summon a monster of the hand for the rest of the turn, which is not that big of a deal because this card is going to usually be the last card you're putting on the field from the hand anyways. We then play a single copy of Silent Sea Nettles. This card is also a great extender. The only downside of this card is an aqua monster, while the rest of the cards in the deck are fish, but this card is really good because if you control a water monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also has the ability that if this card's in the grave, you can banish this card from the grave and then target up to 3 water monsters in your graveyard and shuffle them back into the deck, which is great to be able to extend your plays and recycle your resources. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is great in the deck as a 3-up, just to basically stop your opponent from touching the deck, and it's an awesome hand trap overall. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Instant Fusion and 2 copies of Ready Fusion. These cards do the exact same thing for the deck. They help you summon out your copy of your sea monster or your copy of rare fish from the extra deck, just to extend your plays, either getting you a level 4 or a level 5 fish monster on your side of the field by paying 1,000 life points. We then play 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires is really good in this deck because it helps you out with a lot of your plays, because this card needs to be the last card that you activate in your hand once you search out all your cards, just to basically get you into more combo pieces if you need it, or into copies of hand traps like Infinite Impermanence, or cards like Ash Blossom. I really like playing Desires in this build because you're playing so many 2s and 3s ofs, and cards that you're playing in the deck that you're playing a 1 are just extenders in the deck anyways, so this card is really good at letting you draw 2 cards. We then play 2 copies of White Mirror. This card is basically like Monster Reborn. It lets you target a level 4 or lower fish monster in the graveyard and special summon it. Then, if you do, add a monster from your deck to your hand with the same original name as the special summon monster, which is a really cool ability to use with this card to not only get you a Monster Reborn, but also get you a search as well. We then play 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Foolish Burial Goods is good. This card is amazing in the deck to be able to send your copy of Ice Barrier from your deck to the graveyard so you can get a search, and it's really good in the deck overall. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Full Armored XZ. This card is a great new trap card that we just got out of Age of Overlord, but we're just playing a single copy of this card because it is searchable by our XZ monster, which is really cool about this card. It also has the ability of an XZ monster is on the field, immediately its effect resolves, XZ summon 1 XZ monster using monsters you control, which is a great effect. And you can also manage this card from your graveyard and then target an XZ monster that you control and equip one of their XZ monster from face up from field or graveyard to that monster as an equip spell with the following effects: that the equipped monster gains attack equal to the card's attack, and if this equipped card, or if the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, destroy this card instead, giving you bonus attack points and also giving you a little bit of protection. We then play 2 copies of Ice Barrier. This is what you send to the graveyard always off of Foolish Burial Goods to be able to use its ability to be able to banish this card from the graveyard to send a level 5 or higher water monster from your deck to the grave, then add a water monster from your grave to your hand, which doesn't have to be the same card, which is really cool, because if you have something in the grave that you want to grab, you can send something like a copy of Crystal Shark to the graveyard to be able to use it and bring it back later, which is a great effect about this card. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Impermanence is amazing as a hand trap just to be able to stop your opponent in their tracks, basically negating their monster effects and also setting this card to your side of the field to lock down entire columns of spells and traps. We then play 3 copies of Gozen Match. Gozen Match is amazing in this deck to be able to lock down your opponent with your copy of Krajan, which is so cool about this card. Unless they're playing water, you're basically going to win the game at that point if they count out Gozen Match and Krajan, because it's just so cool to be able to use these cards together, because Krajan turns everything into water, and this card makes it so they can only summon water because they're going to have water on their side of the field. So this card is really good in the deck as a 3-up. I love main decking this card because when you see this card in your opening hand, you know you've probably got game. So that's going to do it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of Full Armored Dark Knight Lancer. This card is an amazing one of the decks. It's actually a retrain of C101, which is amazing. I absolutely love this card, and it has some really cool abilities that once per turn, you can also XZ summon this card by using a rank 5 or 6 XZ monster you control, transferring the materials to this card. And it gains 300 attack for each material and equip card it has, which is a crazy powerful effect. And once per turn, you can target an XZ card in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. And once per turn, also, if an equip card becomes equipped to a monster that you control, except during the damage step, you can attach one monster your opponent controls to this card as a material, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to use with this card. We then play a single copy of Full Armored Crystal Zero Lancer. This card is great as a 1-of in the deck. You can also XZ summon this card using a rank 5 water monster that you control as a material, transferring all materials to this card, and it has a really cool ability. This card gains 500 attack for each XZ material attached to it, and if this phase of the card would be destroyed, you can detach a material from this card instead. And once per turn, detach an XZ material from this card, and all face-up monsters your opponent control have their effects negated until the end of the turn, basically being like a walking Dark Ruler no more, but you still get to do damage. We then play a single copy of Valiant Shark Lancer. This card is great in the deck as 1-of because it helps you pop cards on the field, which is great about this card. We then play a single copy of XZ Armor Fortress. This card is awesome in the deck and one of the most powerful cards we got out of Age of Overlord for the XZ Armor cards. It has the ability you can once per turn. You can also XZ summon this card by using a rank 3 or 4 monster as material that you control, transferring all materials to this card. It cannot be used as a material for an XZ monster while it has materials, which is why we use the XZ Remora to be able to get those materials off this card. And also once per turn, you can detach up to 2 materials from this card to add an armored XZ card with different name from your deck to your hand, equal to the number of materials you detach, being able to detach 1 to be able to grab your copy of your armored XZ trap card, which is so cool about this card. And if a monster equipped with this card battles, any battle damage inflicted to your opponent is doubled, which is a great ability. We can play a single copy of Torpedo. Torpedo is great as a 1-of in the deck just to be able to use to go into other cards. But this card is great because it cannot attack unless it has material. And you can also detach 2 materials from this card to be able to draw a card, which is a great effect. I love that about this card, and it works really well with their copy of Fortress. And this card also has a really cool ability. You apply this effect while this card isn't equipped to a monster, that if the equipped monster battles until the end of the damage step, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects. Also negate the effects of all face-up monsters that they control. And if the equipped monster is an XZ monster, your opponent cannot target it with card effects, which is insane. But this card comes out at 2,500 attack points, which is pretty good for an XZ. We then play a single copy of number 4, Stealth Kragen. This card is amazing in the deck because all face-up monsters on the field become water, which works really well with our copy of Goza Match to basically Kragen lock our opponent. And it also has a really cool ability that during your main phase, quick effect, you can destroy a water monster opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack of the monster had on the field, which is a great ability. We can play a single copy of Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is great for locking down the graveyard, plus all your monsters are going to gain 500 attack points because it's going to have a water monster as a material, which is really cool about this card. We then play 2 copies of Bahamut Shark. This card is amazing to help you summon out all sorts of monsters, and this card is going to come out all the time in this deck to be able to detach a material to summon out one of our 2 copies of Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome really is totally awesome. This card is amazing because it's basically a walking gate, and if it does touch the graveyard, it helps you recycle your cards, letting you be able to target a water monster in your grave and add it back to your hand, which can actually put itself back, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of AA Zeus. We play a lot of XZs in the deck. Sometimes you waterlock yourself, but this card is just really good in case you need to make it to basically board wipe your opponent. We then play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon's just really good in the deck overall to be able to make, and it's a fantastic XZ monster. We then play a single copy of Sea Monster just in case you need a level 5. I really like this card as a 1-of in the deck to help you go in for cards like Valiant Shark Lancer, and it's just fantastic overall in the deck. We then play a single copy of Rarefish. Rarefish is one of the best cards in the entire extra deck to be able to use with your copy of Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion, being able to use this card to get you a level 4 on your side of the field, basically for 1,000 life points, which is amazing. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played an Armored XZ Shark deck, I highly recommend it because it's super fun to be able to play, especially with all the new cards that we got out of Age of Overlord. And this deck is super consistent, making multiple XZs in a single turn, and it's just really fun. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.